we have a crisis with our kids. There are kids aged 5 to 10 that are contemplating suicide. Everything that we do is about that mental health, and the vehicle that we use is physical health. It's fitness.
Welcome everyone, this is Ekaterina with Trust Me Mom. Today I have Cristina Ramirez on my show. Cristina founded a really cool company called DashStrom, and it's helping children stay active and stay away from the screens. So Cristina, welcome, and I'm eager to hear more about your unique program and how it helps kids to stay fit, active, and empower them and raise their self-esteem. Welcome.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here.
So can you tell us more about how it all started? Give us your story.
Sure. So I was the girl, as a teenager, I was the problem child. Like, I was the girl in the back of the gym smoking pot, to be honest. Like, I was not a healthy person. But I wanted to be a mom more than anything. I've always wanted to be a mom. So when I had my kids, they're two boys, 20 months apart. I wanted to be healthy for them. So I ran a 5K in my neighborhood. And when I finished that 5K, you would have thought I won an Olympic gold medal by how I felt. It was like, oh my God, I just did that? Like, what? And if I did that, what else can I do? And that got me into running longer distances. It got me into triathlons. And after my third Ironman, and Ironman is just a very long triathlon, I was changed. The way I thought about challenges, how I handled myself. I was a completely different person. And I realized, had I had that mindset, had I grown up with that, maybe I would have made better choices as a teenager and as in, early 20s. And so I wanted my kids and all kids to grow up with that mindset, to have that opportunity, because I feel like they'll be much more prepared than at least I was to face the challenges that they're facing today. That's how, so then I went to my kids' elementary school. They must have been in like first and second grade. And I asked the principal, I was like, hey, can I do a little after school program, like a run club, because I couldn't do swimming or biking. And she said yes. And I said, great. And we started with 20 kids, and basically my two and their friends. So I took them to run a 5K. And Ekaterina, it was miserable. They cried the entire time because it was hot and it was hard. But I don't know if you've ever done a race, but like the last 50 yards, like there's music and balloons and people are clapping. And when those kids saw that, they ran faster than I have ever seen them run. They booked it. And when they had that medal, they had that feeling that I had, like, oh my God, I just did that. And what else can I do? And that, if I could sell that, I would be a gajillionaire. But you can't sell it. You have to earn it, right? Confidence comes from doing difficult things. So I was like, oh, I'm onto something. What if I created games inside the after school program that mimicked that experience, right? Of something being hard and being challenging, and you want to give up and but you don't. And you come to the other side of it feeling empowered. What if I created games in the after school program for that? And that's how I started. So I started developing a curriculum of games, and it's tricky because they have to be challenging enough for it to matter, but it has to be fun enough for the kids to be coming back. And there have been plenty of times that I would go out on the field. I was like, oh my God, I'm such a genius. And I wasn't, there were like 5 kids crying. So it took a lot of trial and error to really hone in on games that would seem like games and active play and fun for the kids, but really had a much deeper meaning behind it. We base everything around 8 empowerment principles, things that we think are important for kids. So I'll choose one. Let's say positive thinking, right? So when a kid starts running, they have one speed, and that speed is fast. And so they even if you say like go slow, like start slow, they won't. they'll just run. And so they're running, and then it's hard because running is hard. And then they're like, oh my God, I can't run. And I can't run because this is too hard. And it's too hard because I'm too fat. And you know what? Miss Johnson, she yelled at me at math class. So I suck at math too. And my mom, she wants me to clean my room and blah, 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 blah. And then it becomes very hard. And then they walk and they hate running and they hate exercise and all of that. So we want to prevent them to start going down that path, right? They're going to, but how do we help them? So we tell them a story, and it's like, okay, so pretend that you want to go to the ice cream store and you're going to walk there. There are other people in the universe, right? Like you're not the only person walking down the street. So what if there's like an old man on the other side of the street and he's like waving at you? Are you going to run over, give him a hug, and invite him to your house for a sleepover? Or are you going to go to the ice cream store? And the kids will say, well, we want to go to the ice cream store. I was like, right. It's the same thing with those negative thoughts. They're going to come. They exist because every time you do something difficult, you're going to doubt yourself. So imagine that they're like the old man going, like waving at you, right? Like you don't have to engage with them. You can acknowledge, but you want to go to the ice cream store. And then we play a game of where we of tag, and we have positive thoughts and negative thoughts. And the negative thoughts have to tag the positives, but the positives can't run away. They have to take the negative and transform it into a positive. So that is how we are able to like. So now the kids are hearing that lesson in the story, but they're also experiencing what it's like to change a negative thought to a positive thought, embodying it that and physically. And they have a lot of fun playing the game.
Can you tell us more about the age groups? Is it for any children or there are specific age groups where kids can participate?
So the wonderful thing about this is that we work with kids from toddlers to teens, 2 to 12, 3 to 13, and the games don't change. What changes are our expectations of the child. So if you have a preschooler and they finish the class saying, like, I am powerful, you're like, yes, like that was enough. If you had a middle schooler, obviously you're going to want them to have taken a little bit more than that from the class, but the games, the concepts, the stories remain the same. And what is interesting is that they keep coming back. So a lot of people ask me, like, but then they do it and is it a one and done? I was like, for some kids, but for the majority of kids, they come back at least for another season, because the games are so much fun that, and they'll be like, hey coach, can we play that game again? It's like, no, we can't play that game. Hey coach, can we play it? No, we can't. We're going to play this. By the time that you play the game again, they're like so excited to do it again.
Nice. And then is it tied to a regular school schedule? Did you mention that it's an after school program typically?
Yeah, so typically it's an after school program, but it doesn't have to be. And a lot of it depends on our coaches. So we train people to become DashStrom coaches, and they do this as a side hustle. And it's actually a great side hustle. They make like $100 an hour. So some people work full time, so they'll do it on the weekends. So they'll do like a Saturday morning. Some people will do it right after school. And it also depends on the community. Like where I was from in Miami, it had to be right after school. If not, nobody would come. In another, one of my clients in Maryland, she's like, oh no, for me, like kids have to come home, they have a snack, and then they go to their after school activities. And that only begins at like 5 o'clock. So every place is a little bit different, and we adapt to what the community requires.
And it sounds like it's all over the United States. So it's a national program, right?
Yeah, so we're in 41 states right now and in over 250 communities.
Nice, that's wonderful. And you mentioned it sounds like it could be a side hustle for moms. Or can dads participate too? Is it any
Yeah.
gender?
Yes, we don't discriminate. We can be moms or dads or teachers or servers. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that we have a crisis with our kids, and I think people like we need a like there are kids aged 5 to 10 that are contemplating suicide. I don't know how that happens, with a 5-year-old. I really don't. But there's studies upon that, and it comes because of their screen addiction, and it comes because like they're being put in situations that you and I were never put in that age, and we don't, so that really drives us, and like we need to stop this, and we know that our program can help. So in the past, we only worked with moms because that was who I knew. But now we realize like the demand is much bigger and we're open to everybody. You need to understand the problem and you need to be passionate about wanting to solve it, right? And so you have to be a kid person and you have to enjoy fitness. You don't have to be a runner, you don't have to be an athlete, but you can't be 300 pounds in a corner smoking a cigarette. That's not going to work either. So those are the two things. Anybody can do this.
Can you help me understand how's it different from other athletics programs, let's say soccer? So if mom has a choice where to send their kids, why would they send it to DashStrom?
Sure. So, first, only 30% of children participate in sports. There, 70% of kids do not enjoy sports, right? So, speaking specifically about sports, confidence comes as a byproduct of what they're doing, right? Of going to class, of going to their team, of losing a game, those experiences create those kinds of mindset shift for kids. What we do is that we put that not as a byproduct of what we're doing, but front and center. So everything that we do is about that mental health, and that we do it, the vehicle that we use is physical health, it's fitness. So the difference is that, right? Like we focus on mindset, not as a byproduct, but front and center. A lot of our students are kids that don't like sport. Like my kids are music kids and they're now in college and they are going to college for music. They didn't like sports. So, for those kids, this is a great way for them to move their bodies and get the empowerment. And then what we started noticing is for the kids that are in like competitive sports, in their off season, the parents send them to us because they'll work on their mindset, on their ability to handle challenges while they're not competing. So I think a parent has to like, they come to us when they say, okay, my child needs that little oomph in their confidence. They need something to get off those screens, or they see like they're kind of shriveling. They come to us to get that better self-esteem. But also our most popular classes are the littles, preschool, first, second grade. And I love that because then we interject that path like way early. And so we build that child from the ground up with that confidence, with that self-esteem. Some people, they'll do an 8-week course, and then at the end of the course there's a medal challenge. And we don't give out medals because they're cute. I can give you a t-shirt because you're cute, or because, and every child deserves love no matter what they do, right? That's not about this. The medals are earned because you do the work to get it. And we will not give the medals. We'll give them a second chance, a third chance, a 10th chance. That's fine. So kids oftentimes work towards that final medal. But that's not always the case. Like sometimes a class is small or it happens only once. And so every class has a challenge. Like every class, the child ends going like, "Oh my God, I just did that." Right. And that's kind of the goal.
I believe you're a book author. So tell us more about your book.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, I did not grow up with a strong mindset. I like having low self-esteem was like that was like a big goal for me, like it was bad. And over time and through life, like I've learned, like I said, through fitness and I've learned all these lessons. And then in 2021, my husband was diagnosed with cancer and he passed away 7 weeks later. Like he didn't have a chance. We didn't have a chance. And so I found myself as a single mom, as an entrepreneur. So it's not like I had a steady job that was going to give me a paycheck. And having to figure life out. Like we had moved to this little town in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico. I lived in a ski lodge basically, and my entire life had to change because I wanted to provide a cohesive environment for my kids. And it was there that I realized like I can shrivel with this, like this challenge is just too much for me, or I can live, right? Like I my husband was the love of my life. Like we were married for 20 years. He died, but I didn't, and my kids didn't. and my community was there for me, and my business survived. And that inspired me to, it's like, well, we can just choose. Like, we can choose what the story is going to be for us. No matter how hard life is, we get to decide what happened. Like, so I can't, I had no choice that my husband died. I did have a choice of how I reacted to it, right?
Wow.
In the beginning, I had no choice. I, like, you would have told me this, I would have punched you in the face. I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, this horrible pain I'm feeling? Like, no, like, life is miserable and it's never going to be happy again. Like, I lived that for a little bit. Like, you can't, like, your brain, like, you can't. But over time, and when you have a little bit of space, you realize that your thoughts and your decisions about what you believe is what creates the outcomes later. And I teach the kids this, like, nobody can control your thoughts but you. And with the kids, we'll say, as a mom, I control when you go to bed, what you eat, what school you go to, what clothes you wear. But there's one thing that I can't do anything about. And it drives me bananas. And they're like, what is it? And I'm like, well, I can't control what you think. I can influence it, but only you have that power. And that's a power that we take for granted, right? That's a power that we just give to other people, that somebody tells us, like, oh, like, you're not smart enough. And we're like, okay, I'm going to take that thought and I'm going to use that thought for, like, and that will dictate the actions that you take or don't take and the results that you have and don't have. So empowering the kids when they're little to think and to own those thoughts, because those thoughts are so important, and then to implement that ourselves as adults, that's powerful. So, and that's what my book is about. It's called Empowered by Discomfort. It's on Amazon or, wherever books are sold.
Can you show the cover of the book?
So this is the book. It's Empowered by Discomfort. And those are my two dogs.
Oh, wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
What a powerful message. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And it's true. It's simple, but some people, like, this is a little controversial, but some people like to sit in their story of disempowerment because they've had it for so long, and it just, like, their entire, it's like their life is like this because that's what they carry. But it's a choice, and I hope to inspire people to just, like, be brave enough to look at that choice. You don't have to choose it. Like, you don't have to do it. You can stay in your story. That's fine. Knock yourself out. But there is an option. Just look at it. That's all.
Yes. And since you lived that story, I love how you can inspire kids. Start early and build that resilience.
Exactly. That's the whole point.
What are your plans? What do you envision for the program? Do you see it in every community, in every school? What is your grand vision?
Yes. And it's funny because we teach the kids about setting very aggressive goals, right? I think sometimes we hold back because we're afraid. So our vision as a company with my co-founder Kitake is, like, we want every child to be a DashStrom child, and every child to get the benefit of these tools, because, again, like, I believe that we are in a crisis that is unprecedented. Like, we don't know how to deal with this yet. So so our vision is to be not just in schools, but we also partner with churches. We partner with parks and recs. We even have classes at a mall, because I guess, like, they have, like, a green space, and they do classes on Saturday morning. And when they drop off their kids for class, the parents go shopping. And so the mall promotes the classes. So we want to be everywhere and anywhere that there are kids that need to be empowered.
That sounds really cool. So how can moms or potential coaches register or be involved?
Sure. For moms specifically, this is an odd, like, I started because I also, like, I didn't want to go back to work, right? Like, I wanted I started in investment banking in Silicon Valley. And when like I said, like, I wanted my kids more than anything. So I didn't want to go back to work. I didn't want to have to sacrifice the time with my kids in order to earn a living. So when I realized I'm making 10 grand a month, I'm working part-time because my parents were at their end of life and I was their caretaker, and I'm doing it with my kids because my kids grew up in this program. I'm like, it's like the best of all worlds, like, especially for moms. But again, we work with anybody. We train you for free. So we show you how to do this and how to go into your community, how to talk to the school, and then what to teach in the classes. So we give you all that training. And it's just a matter of reaching out to us. It's dashstrom.com/hello coach. And you can learn a little bit more about us, get on the platform, start getting the training. And we go above and beyond in terms of support. Like our standard is hospitality, right? Like, so at a hotel, if you don't like your meal, they'll come and they'll replace it. And like, we want to be like that. So we have office hours, we have unlimited email support. We really try to get people up and running as fast as possible, but also as well trained as possible.
And I believe you have some security measures as well for kids. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. So you cannot be on a platform without having passed a background check. And then we also have other trainings that are optional, but that are also really good, not just to protect the child, but to protect yourself, because a lot of people have never worked with kids, so they don't know what you can and can't do in that setting. Like, it's very different. Like, if you are with your kids and a play date and you're hugging people, like, there's certain things that you can't do. So it's good to learn what is appropriate and not appropriate. So we have that training available as well, but it's not mandatory.
That's good to know. So is there anything else that you wanted to share with us about the program?
I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this works for the kids. Like, I've seen it over and over and over again with kids that come and they're just like crying and whining and I can't, and they just change in front of you by playing very, very simple games. And I see it also in my kids, like the things that they have been able to handle now as young men. Like, I would have collapsed. Like, I wouldn't have handled it the same way. So I know that this fundamentally changes kids and works. And if we are trying to get to as many places as possible, so we need people like you, Ekaterina, like your listeners, to, if you want to be a coach, come and be a coach. Like, you can coach one class with your kids, that's it, that's fine. But if you don't want to, but you want this for your child or for your school, that's okay too. Like, we'll go and we'll talk to the school and we'll bring one of our coaches. We have hundreds of coaches. So we will place a coach at your school. So those are the ways that, if you're listening and you really want this for your kid, amazing. Like, let's work together. You can either be a coach for us or you can help us get into your school and we'll bring a coach to you.
And who typically pays for the program? Is it parents or school funds it?
So usually it's the parents, and the price depends on where you are in the country, right? Because California is completely different pricing than Mississippi. So everything is priced. It's not a franchise where you have to do it this way. We want to empower our coaches to do what is best for them and their community. So the way it usually works is that you're at a school, you do a class right after school. The parents pay for the season, whether that season is 1 month, 2 months, whether it's one time a week or twice a week, you price it like that, and the parents pay for that activity.
I see.
And then
all right.
All of this, sorry, one last thing. So all of this happens on our platform. That is how we were able to scale. Like, the platform creates a safe place where parents can come and register their kids and know that their kids are being with a DashStrom trained coach. And so that all happens, in our platform. That's another way that we create the safety for them.
That's perfect. Well, thank you so much, Cristina. I am very excited about the program.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's a pleasure meeting you.